Hey everyone, in this video lesson we will learn how to solve trigonometric equations. Now what do you mean by solving equations? Solving equations means finding the values of the variable. In the trigonometric equations, the variable that we will be solving for is the angle. So the equations in this video lesson will be of two types that we will be solving. One is the linear equations and the other is quadratic equations. Both the linear and quadratic equations will have trigonometric ratios in there. Let's first take the examples of linear trigonometric equations. Let's say we have to solve for theta if theta lies in between 0 and 360 degrees. And this is the first equation we have, 2 sine theta equal to -1. All that we have to do is just solve for theta because theta is our variable. So we would isolate theta. First, we'll move this 2 over. This is being multiplied with sine theta, so we'll go on the other side and get divided with -1. Now, to find out theta, we have to isolate theta completely. So, in order to isolate theta completely, we have to move this sine on the other side as well. And when sine moves on the other side, becomes sine inverse of -1 over 2. Now always remember that whenever we are looking for an angle and the inverse ratio calls for the solving of a negative fraction, we have to first solve for beta because beta angle will be inverse of the trigonometric ratio of the positive fraction. We know sine inverse of 1 by 2. 1 by 2 is the ratio of sine beta. This is because sine beta is equal to 1 by 2. When we make a special triangle, we would be making the special triangle with respect to degrees because our angle is given to be in degrees. Let's say we make 30-60 special triangle. Sine ratio of which angle is going to give us a 1 by 2 answer. And we see sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So for which angle opposite is 1? That is angle 30 degrees. Therefore, we know sine 30 degrees is 1 by 2. Because for 30 degrees, 1 is opposite and 2 is the hypotenuse. So from here, we know that beta angle is 30 degrees. Now, are we looking for angle beta? No, we are looking for theta because our question contains theta. It does not contain beta. Now, we would be using beta angle to find out theta. So, for that, we would be using cast rule. Now, we know that our initial ratio, the question that we started with was sine theta equal to -1 by 2. So, we are looking for a negative sine value and negative sine exists in third and the fourth quadrant. So we would use our beta to find out the theta in the third quadrant and to find out theta in fourth quadrant. So theta in third quadrant we know is 180 plus beta, which is going to be 180 plus 30 degrees, which is 210 degrees. Similarly, theta in fourth quadrant is 360 degrees minus beta, that is equal to 360 degrees minus 30 degrees, which is equal to 330 degrees. If you want to understand the basic concepts of cast rule, finding theta from beta, that is the related acute angle and the principal angle, unit circle and special triangles, please watch the playlist Introduction to Trigonometric Functions on the channel. That contains all the videos with all of these basics of trigonometric functions. So from here, we know that the answer is 210 degrees and 330 degrees. Let's do another question for the sake of practice. If we have the equation as -5 cos theta plus 3 equal to 2, and we have to find out theta if theta lies in between 0 and 360 degrees. 0 and 360 degrees means the entire circle. Wherever the answer is applicable for theta, we have to find out the answer. Now, how to solve this equation? We're going to rewrite the equation. -5 cos theta plus 3 equal to 2. This is the question. Now, we will be isolating theta. We are using simple algebra to isolate theta. We would be moving 3 on the other side. And this gives us 2 minus 3. On this side, we are left with -5 cos theta. 2 minus 3 is -1, so we have -5 cos theta. Now we are isolating theta further by moving this over. The relationship between -5 and cos theta is multiplication, so when we move it on the other side, it becomes division. Minus and minus gets cancelled. We are left with cos theta equal to 1 over 5. Now we know the ratio 1 over 5 does not lie in special triangles, so definitely we just have one option to solve this theta is to use a calculator. So to solve for theta, we would be doing cosine inverse of 1 by 5. Here we do not have to use related acute angle or beta angle because beta is only used if the ratio for theta is a negative ratio. In this case, we have a positive ratio. So when we put this directly on the calculator, we would be getting our first answer, and that is theta. And the theta answer that we get is 78.5 degrees. We see that this theta lies in the first quadrant because first quadrant is from 0 to 90 degrees. And this is the answer because our cos theta is a positive ratio. So according to CAST rule, C-A-S-T, cosine values are positive in the first and the fourth quadrant. So first quadrant answer we already have. Now all we have to do is just find out the fourth quadrant answer, and the fourth quadrant answer will be equal to 360 degrees minus beta. Now where do we get this beta from? Because we have not calculated beta. So always remember, theta in the first quadrant is same as beta. All of these basics are in the introduction to trigonometric functions. So if you want more clarification on it, just watch our videos from introduction to trigonometric functions on our channel. So in order to find out theta 4, or in order to find out theta in the fourth quadrant, we have to do 360 degrees minus 78.5 degrees, which is equal to 281.5 degrees. So the first answer we got for theta is 78.5 degrees. And the second answer we got for theta is 281.5 degrees. So these are the two answers for theta in this particular question. Let's do another example. If we have the question like 8 plus 4 cot x equal to 10, and we're supposed to find out x given that x lies in between 0 and 2 pi. Remember, we are given 0 and 2 pi, angle is in radians, so our answer also has to be in radians. So first we will start isolating x. So 4 cot x is equal to 10 minus 8, which is equal to 2. Now cot x is equal to 2 out of 4, or 2 over 4. We can reduce it down to lowest terms and we would be left with 1 by 2 is cot x. Now we would see that our calculators will not have cot value. Neither can we solve the cot inverse. So we first have to change it to 10. We know cot is a reciprocal of 10. So we would just reciprocate this ratio in order to get the 10 answer. So 10x is equal to 2 over 1. Now if we need to solve for x, all we have to do is just take 10 on the other side and it becomes 10 inverse of 2 over 1, or just 2. So we get x equal to, make sure your calculator is in radian mode, because our angle was given from 0 to 2 pi, and we get 0.355. Let's find out using CAST rule where is tan positive, because our tan ratio is equal to positive. So we know tan is positive in the third and the first quadrant. This x that we have got is automatically from the first quadrant. So we got the first angle from the first quadrant, and that's 0.355. How do we know that? Because the first quadrant starts at 0 pi and finishes off at 0.55. So if the value is in between 0 to 0.55, that means it's in the first quadrant. To find out the x value from third quadrant, we use the beta rule. And the beta rule is that in the third quadrant, to find out the theta, or to find out the principal angle, we do pi plus beta. Again, where do we get this beta from? We know beta is same as the angle in the first quadrant. And here the angle in the first quadrant is called x in the first quadrant. So we put in pi plus 0.355 and we get 1.355. Therefore, the two x values that we've got is 0.355 and the second answer is 1.355. And this is how we solve the linear trigonometric equations.